Hey everyone, welcome to the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today we're going to talk about being a niche seller versus being an everything seller. A niche seller typically focuses on one specific item or category and becomes an expert on that. And an everything seller sells, well, everything. So we're going to talk about the benefits and the drawbacks of each. And then at the end, I'll tell you what I believe my solution is so that you can have the benefits of both and not very many of the drawbacks, in my opinion, on what we do. But first, let's just focus on the benefits and the drawbacks. We're going to talk about niching down first. So some benefits of niching down are that you really do become an expert. If you're only selling vintage dresses or only selling DVD VCR combos or comic books or jewelry, whether it's costume or real jewelry, whatever it is, you really become an expert. If you sell glass and you know how to use your black light and see if it's the Vaseline glass and you can kind of get an eye for it when you're outsourcing, it is a benefit. You really become an expert at whatever item you're focused on. That means you can source it more quickly because you know what you're looking for. You can see it almost from across the room, like love at first sight. So you'll be able to source it. You'll be able to photograph it and prep it for photos and get it photographed faster. The longer you work with an item, the more you do something, it's repetition. You will get faster. So not only do you get good at recognizing the item when you're outsourcing, but with repetition, you'll get faster. Just think of measurements if any of you are clothing sellers. When you first started selling and started taking measurements, oh my gosh, did it take forever? I felt like I used to be having a snail race in molasses when I would measure jeans, and now I'm super fast. It's repetition and it's working with the same thing over and over. And your listing will get quicker too, for several reasons. You may get to a point where you need to not comp at all or do very little comping on items that you're very familiar with. And you get muscle memory. And if you've set up templates, which everyone should do, you should have a good template set up. If you have a good template set up and you're not comping at all or doing very little comping on the same item over and over again, there's that repetition, you're going to get faster at listing. And I mentioned the muscle memory because we all know that listing on Mercari and Poshmark is super simple, but eBay has all of the item specifics. You'll start to memorize and just know where to click and where to go and what to fill in, and you can just get faster and faster. I can absolutely attest to that with jeans. I can just go down and just fill in item specifics almost on autopilot at this point because I fill them in all the time and they're always there, and you just repetition. You get used to it. So those are some really good benefits of niching down. Another benefit is if you niche down into a category or into an item that is rare and not oversaturated on eBay, not many people have it, you somehow lucked out and found an item that not a lot of people sell or not a lot of people have access to, you can corner the market, you can charge higher prices, you can make more money, and you have less competition. All right, but some of the drawbacks to being a niche seller. You want to be a niche seller? A niche seller is finding replenishable sources. So if you find that one item or that one category you sell in, you need to find consistent inventory, right? Because we all need to list all the time. Active store is a happy store, and you need to consistently replenish your listings. You can't list 100 of your specialty dresser drawers and sell them all. You're not going to live for the rest of your life off of that money. You still need to pay your bills. So you got to find a source where you can consistently get that item over and over and over again, and probably in quantity. And you're only going to have one buyer audience. Unless you're selling something very unique, like I already mentioned, very, very unique with a specific buyer audience that is going to consistently buy it from you, you could be limiting yourself. So for instance, with jeans, if we only sold jeans, I'm only selling to people who are looking for jeans. I'm missing out on all different kinds of buyers that way. And you could be limiting yourself to one platform. I list this as a drawback. Some people may not think it is a drawback, but let's say none of your items are vintage or handcrafted. You're not going to be able to sell on Etsy. If you do sell those items, you can sell on Etsy, and you'll probably do better there than other platforms. But you can't be locking yourself in to just one type of buyer or one platform when you only have one type of item. So those are the benefits and drawbacks to niching down. There's benefits and drawbacks to being an everything seller as well. The first benefit is you're always going to have inventory, right? It's going to be easy to source because you can go anywhere and buy anything. You can go to a church sale, yard sale, thrift store. You can go on Goodwill, Blue Box. You can go to ThredUp. You can go to Buffalo Exchange. Do you guys still have those? Am I just making myself old here? But you can go anywhere and buy anything. If you're an everything seller, you can source from anywhere and get anything. Hard goods, jeans, shoes, ties, baby toys, plushies, jewelry, because it's everything. So that's a plus. You're not struggling to find that replenishable source of that one particular item. So you're always going to have inventory consistently. You're going to have a wider buyer audience, which is a bigger net. You're going to have a huge net to catch buyers, because if you have 100 different types of items in your store, you're going to have 100 different types of buyers coming to buy from you, and you can list on more platforms and be more successful that way. And you can have more of a variety in your price. So if you're niche down and you're locked into, let's say, Vaseline glass that's really expensive, you are looking for those folks that have those discretionary funds that want to spend that kind of money on the collectible glass. So it's not just a specific type of audience either. It's a specific price point. If you're an everything seller, you can attract people who want $10 plushies and $20 jeans and $100 jeans and $80 vintage dresses. So you can have that variety as well of all the different people who are in different economic places in their life with different amounts of discretionary income to spend. The drawback on being an everything seller is that you don't become an expert. You're kind of a jack of all trades, and you may have to do more research, especially if you're buying a lot of one-offs, and especially if you're buying a lot of one-offs of hard goods and electronics. There's a lot more research that goes into it. If you're not an expert and you don't know anything about it, you're going to spend more time individually on each item, learning how to list it. How do I take my photos? What do I put in the title? What are my keywords? What do I price it at? So it can be very time consuming, not just looking up the comps, but researching the item in general. If you gave me a Polaroid camera, I wouldn't know anything about it. If it was a $500 Polaroid camera, you better believe I'm going to find something out about it, but it's going to take me a long time to research that camera and learn the model and the title and all of that, versus if you hand me a pair of American Eagle jeans, I'm like, oh, well, they're boot cut, they're medium wash, they're mid-rise, and they're $20 off the top of my head, right? So you're not going to get as much repetition if you're doing more one-offs. Now, some everything sellers are everything sellers that still sell similar items all the time. So you can get the repetition and the knowledge and all of that you get from niching down. But if you're doing a lot of one-offs, you're just not going to have that repetition. You're not going to have batch work. You're not going to have that quickness on your processes. You probably don't have 20 of one item to bring over and quickly photograph and list and get into that streamlined process of that batch work. You're just not going to have it. So it's going to require more effort and time. So my solution, and this is how we sell, it's a nice middle ground of both. So niche down to a few types of items and a few types of categories and learn those and become an expert on those very few, but don't pass up on the good stuff. So I used the Polaroid camera as an example for a reason. We have actually niched down to very few categories. I would consider myself an expert on plush and an expert on jeans. I'm very knowledgeable, but not an expert in costume jewelry, comics, electronics. Keith's wheelhouse are the electronics for sure and the comics. His comics to him are the jeans to me. He can just look at it and tell you about it. But he's knowledgeable about jeans as well. We're both knowledgeable about men's shirts and women's scrub tops, so we sell those a lot too. So we've become experts on the items that we sell the most. I am really fast with jeans. I don't comp jeans anymore. I can whip them out, measurements, photographs, and listings. Same with Plush. I'm really fast with jewelry, but I cheat with jewelry kind of. I use the List Perfectly listing assistant. The AI does the work for me. But the photographs and stuff, I've gotten really fast because it's repetition. And if I sort my wholesale boxes into necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and I batch work, it's fast. But we don't just sell jeans or just sell comics or just sell jewelry. We have several we have several categories we have niched down, and each of us has become an expert on a few and really knowledgeable on a few more. But we don't pass up the good stuff. So if I see a Polaroid camera or I see a Johnny Was blouse, my gosh, do I hate listing women's clothing. But if I see a Johnny Was blouse, I know that Johnny Was blouse is worth money and I'm bringing it home. So what I would suggest is just picking a few things, become experts on them all. And then, so you're niche down to like just a couple of things, but don't pass up the good stuff. Still kind of be aware of bolos outside of your realm of knowledge, outside of your niches, so that when you see them out in the wild, you can get them and get that good profit. And you know what? This is super important. I have to add this at the end. You guys, make sure whatever it is you're doing is making you happy. Okay? If niching down to just one specific item or category brings you joy, makes you happy, you're successful, you're paying your bills, you're doing what you need to do with your life, and you're putting food in the fridge and taking care of your family, your pets, and your loved ones and yourself, go for it. If being an everything seller is bringing you joy and making you happy, and you love the thrill of the hunt and selling something different every day, and you don't mind doing all the extra research and never being able to batch work, and you're not about the volume or the speed, and you're happy and you're successful, then that's what you need to be doing. You need to find what makes you happy. I say this all the time, but it bears repeating. It should be said to you guys once on the hour, every single day. Is what you're doing right now bringing you joy and making you happy? And is it bringing you success? Because you can be happy as a pea in a pod and thrifting every day and bringing home stuff and not making enough money to pay your bills and being a successful business. So that's no good. But if what you're doing is making you a successful profit and paying your bills and putting that food in the fridge, but you're miserable and you wake up every morning just not wanting to work and not looking forward to the day and not liking what you're doing, that's no good either. So find that balance. Make sure you're enjoying yourself. That's the whole point of being your own boss. That's why we all do this. So find what brings you joy, pay your bills. And remember, my bills aren't your bills. So everyone's going to be different, and what we need out of life, what we want out of life is all going to be different. And we don't all have to like the same things. We don't all have to list or source the same things. We don't all have to have the same business models. What we all need is to do something that makes us happy, that pays our own bills and takes care of our lives. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below, and I will be happy to answer you. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. Until next time, go be productive, make some money. I'll see you. Thanks for watching. Bye.